it. So rather than being a company that says, oh, yes, we do these things, there's a way for us to be able to share with the world that we meet certain standards in all of these different areas.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Lauren Cox. Today I'm here with Warren Wilansky, founder and president of Plank. Welcome, Warren. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you. I'd love if you could tell everyone a little bit about Plank and its unique value proposition in the marketplace and what sets you aside from other agencies that you consider competitors.
Okay, I'll do my best. So Plank is, to put it simply in the simplest terms, we're a company that builds websites, but we call ourselves a digital agency, which seems to be the term that people use for a team like us. So I think probably the unique value proposition that you mentioned is a lot of our focus is on arts and culture and nonprofit projects. So we do large custom websites. And about 50% of that work is actually on WordPress, and then 50% on other different technology as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So one thing that I've learned about Plank is that Plank is B Corp certified. So I'd love to understand why this was important to you and your company, and what did you learn through the process of becoming certified?
Sure. I'll do a little bit of what a B Corp is, which is, it's basically, a certification process. And I think it was founded by Patagonia, had started this movement. And the idea is to just certify a company, almost like if you think of what a LEED certification is for buildings. A B Corp is really about kind of social values and certain things that are important to different kind of corporations, so that we can kind of say that certain values that we hold dear, ways that we choose to treat our workers, the kind of clients we work with, the kind of projects we work on, our commitment to the environment, there's a benchmark for it. So rather than being a company that says, oh, yes, we do these things, there's a way for us to be able to share with the world that we meet certain standards in all of these different areas. Now, no company is perfect at anything that they do. It's always an aspirational intention. So we're always trying to do better, be a better version of ourselves, and kind of be a better corporate citizen as a small company.
That's wonderful. I think that companies across Canada, across Europe, and certainly across the US are starting to now really think through certifications around sustainability, and thinking how they can get better. So, I really like that you guys are B certified. Congratulations. So I wanted to twist over to our to website design. So how do you, when you're working with your clients, how do you successfully integrate human-centered design and personalization into the overall experience that a user has?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question, and there's a lot of different ways that we do that. I think one of the key things that has become, it's something that we've done for a long time, but it's become even more important to us, and we've actually, as a result, invested in it, is content strategy has been an important thing to us. In other words, we want to look at a website from a design perspective, from a usability perspective, but also from a content perspective, to ensure that when we're designing things, we're designing and developing projects that really take into account the expectations of a user. In other words, we want to build projects that are extremely custom, so that when we're doing things, we are building things from the ground up, so that a website experience from Plank is one that is extremely unique and is not cookie cutter, or is not something you've seen in 10 other places. So we really take the time and effort to kind of understand our clients, understand our clients' clients, understand their users, and make sure that we take that into consideration from a user perspective by doing different user personas, interviewing different stakeholders, and making sure that we take into account who's actually going to be using the site.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that you've worked with Ford's Theatre, correct? When you migrated their site from over to WordPress, and it had really rich content. So did you find the WordPress platform really the CMS set you up to improve the overall experience through that change?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key things by moving over to WordPress were one, WordPress is totally perfect. I mean, WordPress grew out of and was still originally a blogging platform. So its intention was to manage content. In other words, it might have been one specific type of content, which was long form or short form blogs, but it has moved into being a robust content management system. So from that perspective, to present different kinds of content was really a matter of proper categorization, proper indexing of content, finding the right ways and right places to implement the content. But even more importantly, is also from an administration side, WordPress is from an administration side a really, really strong platform to manage content as well. So our client is able to make updates, manage, edit, update in a way that is really user friendly. And we also have to be realistic, and WordPress is used by over 40% of websites on the internet. So the chances are when we're doing a WordPress project is that our clients or our clients' staff have usually run into WordPress and are as a result really, really comfortable with it, which then leads to a lot less training, a lot less investment into that side of things so that our clients can kind of get running with their site, the day that they take it over.
Yeah, wonderful. So it's a little bit of an existential question, but how do you see website design and development needing to adapt to remain relevant?
Every few years, there's always some kind of technology change, and there's always something that comes up, and the question is, how do you deal with website design in the face of this technology? If it's Squarespace, if it's Wix, if it was some technology 20 years ago, how do we deal with it in the face of AI? And the truth is, there is going to be an always evolving ecosystem about website design and development. And there's always going to be a place for, really simple tools for somebody to build a simple website to get started. But when we're dealing with an organization that really wants to have a unique web experience, the kind of website design that we do, which is really, complex and custom website design and development, there's always going to be an interesting spot where our clients need that unique experience so that they can present themselves in a unique way.
Absolutely. A question is around open source, is that have you been able to accelerate website development and design using open source platforms like WordPress?
All different kinds of tools that we have, like WordPress being one, using different kind of assistive technology like AI technology, there's been an ability for us to be able to do that much more. So I find that technology usually adds on, so that we can offer more, we can do things a little bit quicker. But, a lot of the technology that we encounter like WordPress is really assistive. In other words, we don't need to build a CMS from the ground up because, the administration of a website is something that should be pretty standardized at this point. So we use those standardized tools, and then we use the tool and build on it to create those custom experiences that I mentioned before.
Yeah. So another customer that you work with is the Canadian National Exhibition, I think locally known as the X, right? You revamped their site to simplify their customer journey, and you did that using WordPress Gutenberg, the block editor. How do you think WordPress helped you streamline that site design, the redesign, and improve that experience?
So like the Gutenberg block editor and actually doing custom blocks has been an interesting one that, I know some people at the beginning of the transition to Gutenberg probably found it difficult or couldn't figure out how to manage it and found it a kind of hindrance. Whereas now we're finding that using the block editor in the correct way, we're able to give our clients a lot more flexibility to be able to do custom pieces in their sites and manage their sites in interesting ways, but also allows us to kind of set a series of styles and intentions so that the site has a consistency throughout. So it's not an open block, it's not an open editor where anybody can add anything to it. There are a series of different blocks so that we can constrain from a design perspective so that there's a consistency of design and intention throughout the site, but then still give everybody enough of a tool and enough options so that they can really be creative with their site within those guidelines.
Yeah, I think that's super helpful. So I'm totally going to switch gears on you which is around how we think about, you talked about earlier, new design, new frontiers, et cetera, that we're going to see in technology. So one of those is AI. And I'd love to hear your view on how the impact of AI will impact search and what role ChatGPT will play in search engines as they identify or not identify real content. Have you stumbled into any of that in your recent work?
I think what we're going to start to see with the web, with using tools like ChatGPT and AI related technology, is I think the internet is going to become much more conversational, in that people are going to be much more used to the idea of not typing in a couple words into Google and hoping for some kind of relevant search. It's going to be more of a conversation between you and the technology itself. The other thing that I found that's been kind of interesting as well is that we have to look at these tools as assistants, not as replacements of different things. So the more that we rely on them as assistants, the more we can then use them in ways that they're good at doing the things that they do.
Yeah, as you were saying, conversation, do you think that AI will more head to voice as well?
I don't see why not. I mean, a lot of the kind of voice sensitization that the word didn't come out well. A lot of I'm going to stop there and then I'll start back up again. So yeah, a lot of the voice that I've encountered, some of it can sound very robotic, and you can really tell when something doesn't sound like an actual human. But I think it's getting better and better, so that we're going to get more and more comfortable with the idea of having a conversation. I mean, if you take things such as like Alexa or Siri, they're imperfect still, but we're definitely getting to a point where people are feeling more comfortable having those conversations.
I believe that Planck is about to celebrate its 25th anniversary. Is that right?
Yep, that's right, in December, actually.
So I'd love to hear some of the wisdom that you've gleaned over the past 2 decades that have contributed to Planck's success and longevity as an agency.
So, I mean, that's a tough one to answer, because, over 25 years, I've learned a lot. But, that question's come up a few times over the past little while as we kind of talk about the idea of being 25 years old. I would say the biggest thing, and I guess it's, because of where we're at, we're not at year 1 or 2. Everybody's, intentions are different at different points. I think that, at 25 years, the key for our success has been just being patient. And I think patience is one of the things that, you don't feel at the beginning of starting a company. You feel an urgency to make things happen. But when there's a certain point where the company starts to have a momentum of its own, in other words, we're a team of almost 30 people. And when you get that many people in a room, the momentum is not driven by me. The momentum is now driven by the team. And the team is going to move at a certain pace and have a certain intention. And my job more than anything is probably just try to help push the ball off in a certain direction or another, and accept that it's going to have this movement onto itself, and just make sure that we're just continuously moving it in a direction that we're all comfortable with. Yeah,
that's wonderful. I think, over 25 years, patience is definitely something that you've had to exercise, no doubt, at different times. So I love to finish an interview with what gets you up in the morning, what gets you inspired for your work and career.
The funniest thing is, I think in 25 years, there's never been a day, maybe there's been a day here or there, but there generally has never been a day where I've woken up and thought, oh, I can't believe I have to get out of bed and go to work now. And the reason is because of the people around me. In other words, I feel like one of the biggest successes we've had as a company is to find people that fit our culture and our values. And I feel like the team that we have now, and it feels like every year it gets better, that we always consistently have a better and better team. So the thing that gets me up in the morning is the knowledge that I get to, work with a group of people that I respect, that I care about, and that I think care about each other enough that we always want to have each other's back, and we always want to be pushing each other forward, so that we're always doing better work, taking care of our clients better, trying to do the best that we can to make the internet a better place.
Thank you, Warren. That's very helpful. Thank you. This is Velocitize Talks. I'm Lauren Cox, and today we had Warren Wilansky, founder and president of Planck.